Hi Year 7, welcome back to lesson 3 of our World of Work unit. Today's lesson is called The Growth of Tourism. Quite a nice lesson to do, as you know, we're getting into summer. So people are starting to think about going on holiday or wishing they were going on holiday, considering the current situation. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to be able to explain the factors which had led to the growth of tourism and how this changes over time. So write down the title and then we're going to do the key term. The key term for this lesson is called consumer spending. So this means the total money spent on final goods and services by individuals and households for personal use and enjoyment. So basically it means how much money do you spend on things that aren't essential, for things like your movie subscriptions or your takeaways or going out to the theatre or the cinema or anything like that. What do you spend your money on for fun? All right, pause the video and we move on. Okay, so we all know what time it is. It's our quiz. So remember just to write down the answers and don't write out the questions. And then in a minute, after you've paused it, we are going to then do our green pen. But remember to have a go at this, guys, and it's really important that you don't cheat. Okay, so industries which are classed as high-tech, research and design. They include hardware and software engineers and pharmaceutical companies. They are known as what type of industry? The term for goods brought into a country is what? One reason tertiary employment has grown in developed countries is what? Primary industries have declined in the UK because of why? One problem of visual pollution is what? And the money a person has left to spend after they have paid all of their bills is known as what? Okay, so let's see how well you did. Get your green pens out and give yourself a tick or correct it. All right, let's move on. Okay, so what we've got here is a map of the world, as you can see, but it's showing something in particular. It's showing earnings worldwide from tourism, and this was taken in 2010. So, how much did each country earn through tourism? Now, tourism is just going on holiday and going out and doing things on a day trip to somewhere that you don't live. Okay, so going out and visiting a beach somewhere, you can do that in the UK, or actually going on a holiday to a resort or a hotel or a safari or an adventure holiday, anything, and that is known as tourism. So you can see here you've got a key which shows what each of the colours of the map represent. Okay, and they show earnings from tourism in millions of US dollars. So, first of all, which continent is making the least amount of money? Okay, if you can see that, write it down. Which continent is making the most? And then the challenge, can you think of any reasons why? So why is this continent making the least amount of money from tourism? And then why is this continent making the most money out of tourism? Okay, so here are some answers. So get your green pen out and give yourself a tick or change it. Okay, so we were talking about tourism and how I said that it's basically going on holiday. So in front of you, you've got 6 pictures of different types of holidays that people can do. and they're all very different. So what I would like you to do is, for each figure, I would like you to tell me, why might people want to visit these areas? So can you write down as many points as you can think of? So for example, figure 2. Why would people want to go and visit Rio in Brazil? Rio de Janeiro, big city in Brazil. Why would they want to go there? And then figure 5, why would they want to go to Negril Beach in Jamaica? I really don't know. Have a look at this picture. What can you see in the picture that would make you think why people would want to go there? Pause this video and give yourself 5 minutes. Alright, so let's see how well you did. So I'm going to go through them and just show you the points that I've put down. So for Rio, I think mainly people would want to go there for sightseeing because it's very, very beautiful. The climate in Brazil is really lovely as well. It's quite tropical and it's always hot and sunny. So people would want to go there because the climate is good. The landscape as well is beautiful. You can see Sugarloaf Mountain there in the background. And the culture, Brazilian culture, is very nice. So people want to go and visit and experience the food, the dancing, and everything else that goes with it. Figure 3, Machu Picchu. It's an ancient Inca ruin in Peru. It's very, very high up in the mountains there. It's really, really ancient. So obviously people would want to go for the culture, to see the sights, and for the history. Figure 4, a cruise ship in Antarctica. Well, people would want to go there again to see the sights. Not very many people can get to go to Antarctica as it's so far away and it's quite extreme. You can see some beautiful wildlife there and it's something very different. Figure 5, Negril Beach. Obviously you want to go and lie on a beach, on a tropical beach. Beautiful surroundings, you've got lovely climate, you can do water sports, and people like to get married there as well. So you can even have wedding tourism. I don't know if you know anyone or you have yourself been on holiday for someone's wedding. Figure 6, in Venice in Italy. Again, people go for the culture, to see the sights, and it's known as one of the most romantic cities on earth. So they go there for the romance. Figure 7, this is Las Vegas in the USA. Well, people go there for gambling as there's lots of casinos there and lots of clubs for partying, and there are some theme parks as well. So you can see here that people go on holiday. They become tourists for many different reasons, and there is so much selection out there for people to decide what they want to do on holiday. Okay, so what I want you to do is try and test our graphical skills. So that's us seeing if we can read information from graphs. So in front of you, you can see figure 8, and it's a graph to show the number of international tourists arriving in developing and developed countries. So this means, where are people going on holiday the most, basically? Where are you travelling to? So are they going to developing countries, so poorer countries, or developed countries, the richer countries? Okay, and you've got data here from 1980 all the way to an estimate what it will be like this year. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is have a look. First of all, we've got to, in order to describe what's going on, we've got to say if there's a pattern. Now when I say there's a pattern, do I mean, is it rising? Is it falling? Is it even? Is it uneven? Can I give some data to help that? So where has the most and where is the least? Can I give some data to support that? Let's have a look. So the general pattern is that tourist numbers have grown since 1980. We can see, look, they go up. So overall, the pattern is they've grown since 1980. For example, in 1980, about 210 million tourists visited developed countries. This is predicted to rise to 1,000 million, there we go, in 2020. Might not actually be that high this year, as we're not allowed to actually go anywhere, but when this was made, when this graph was made, that's what they believed. Looking at the challenge, what's the difference between developed and developing countries? Well, look, more tourists visit developed countries compared to developing. For example, there is an estimated difference of 400 million in 2020. Okay? Okay guys, so now it's your turn. So having a look at your graph, figure 9, it shows the international tourist numbers between 1950 and 2010. So I want you to do the same thing. Is there a pattern? Is it rising? Is it falling? Can you give me some data to explain that? And are there any anomalies? Anomalies means an odd bit of data that doesn't match up with the others. So pause this video for about 5 minutes. Okay, let's see how well you did. You should have got that tourist numbers have grown since 1950. For example, in 1950, there were around 20 million international tourists. By 2010, oh look, it has risen to 950 million. That's amazing. Are there any anomalies? Well, yeah, look, between 1980 and 1990, these 2 points here, tourists' numbers began to grow, but however, it kind of slowed down. If you have a look at the line here, it kind of goes up gradually, and then all of a sudden here, it doesn't grow up. It doesn't grow as quickly as it should. And then after 1990, it grows quite rapidly. So the anomaly there is between 1980 and 1990 as it slowed down. Right, here we have got figure 10. Figure 10 shows reasons why tourism has increased over the years. So why are more and more and more people going on holiday? So if we have a look at each one, I'm not going to read them all out, I'm just going to use a couple. It will really tell you why people can go on holiday more today than they did in the past. So having a look, it says, which 2 factors do you think have had the greatest impact on tourist numbers, and which has had the least? So choose 2, and I want you to tell me which have had the highest impact and what's had the lowest. Now, how I want you to do this is very simple. I want you to explain why you think that. Now look, I'm going to use this one as an example. Wage levels. So, wage levels is when people have more disposable income. That means they've got more money to spend on things other than their bills and their rent and their mortgage. So it means they have money left over to spend on going on holiday, which is great, because a long time ago people wouldn't have had as much money. They would have just got paid enough for their bills and for their rent and for their mortgage. They would have had very little to spend on holidays. So wage levels is when people have more disposable income. This means that. So that's how I want you to set out your answers. I want you to explain the point, which are in the bubbles here. So tell me what the point is and then explain it. So here, what does disposable income mean? And I've just explained it. So you can choose any of these to decide which has the greatest impact on tourism, and then think about which one has had the least. and I want you to write them like this here. Pause the video for about 10 minutes. Okay guys, so here is your extended writing activity. Remember, this is the most important activity of this lesson, and you have to show that you are putting in a lot of effort and spending the most time on it. So you've seen this already, figure 10, which is the spider diagram, as it were, of the factors why tourism has increased. We looked at those. And you decided which was the biggest reason. So here in the figure 11, it shows a fact file showing the importance of tourism. So why is tourism important around the world? Let's read it. It says, tourism employs 204 million people worldwide, or 1 in every 9 workers, 10.6% of the global workforce. So tourism employs a lot of people around the world. Tourism is the world's leading economic contributor, producing 10.2% of the world's GNP, gross national product. So tourism is earning lots of money for the world. And that's really good. Tourism accounts for 10.9% of all consumer spending. Now that's our key term from the start of the lesson. That means that 10.9% of all of our wages that we get paid goes on tourism. So we spend quite a lot when going on holiday and our trips out. 10.7% of all capital investment. So that means a lot of money is put in to tourism. And 6.9% of all government spending. That means that 6.9% of what the government spend is on tourism. Right, what you've got to do is this. You've got to describe or give a description of what has happened to tourist numbers globally. So you've got to explain this here. Okay, can you use some data from earlier graphs? So you need to go back in the video and get some data to help you. You need an explanation of 3 reasons why tourism has grown. So that links to this. And then you've got a challenge. It says you've got to have 2 explained benefits of tourism for countries that people visit. So what does tourism do for countries that they visit? It's a bit tricky, but let's have a look at an example. Okay, let's read it and see if it meets the success criteria. Since 1950, the number of worldwide tourists has grown significantly. For example, from 1950 to 2010, the number of worldwide tourists increased. There are many reasons for this. For example, the cost of holidays has come down due to cheap flights through companies such as Ryanair. This means more people can afford to holiday overseas. Another reason is that people now have more money. Finally, there are more retired people taking holidays. Tourism is important as it employs 204 million people worldwide. Tourists also spend lots in the countries that they visit. Let's see if that meets the criteria. So the first paragraph gives a description, but it's not given any data to show how the numbers have increased worldwide. There are many reasons for this. For example, the cost of holidays has come down due to cheap flights through companies such as Ryanair. That's a good point, and they've developed it. They've given a point there, another point, and another point, and another point, but they haven't explained it. So overall, the description is good, yeah, but they've not given any figures. They've got a good explanation of how cheaper holidays have led to more international travel, and all other points are given, but they're not developed. Therefore, it does not meet the success criteria. If they developed these points here, explain them, they would have got 4 marks. So go back just to your task and give yourself a good half an hour to write it, guys. Good luck.